call to order the Torch Lake Township regular board meeting of May 17th, 2022 at 7 p.m. Join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Sharon, you'll lead us.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we'll review the housekeeping items. I'll shorten them up tonight. Board, when speaking, please move close to your microphone to ensure we are heard clearly for the YouTube streaming, and I request that citizens who speak to adjust the height and stand close to the microphone. There will be two opportunities for citizen comments. I will be requesting individuals stay within the 4 minutes in both citizen comment sections. I would appreciate everyone keeping their points concise. I would request that comments are made respectfully to the board. We are to discuss the township business. Citizen comments should pertain to specific issues, concerns, or policies they would like to bring to the board's attention. The documents on the website are aligned to the items on the agenda. These are draft documents to provide background information only. Just to be clear, motions were drafted to help the board more quickly get to the final wording and vote on the respective motions. The final motion may look different to reflect the actual action taken by the board. With that, we have one set of minutes, the regular board meeting of April 19th, 2022. Any changes or comments, board?
don't have any changes, but I have a comment.
All right.
The principles of governments, did you ever find that, Kathy, for all of us to sign
When we had that on the agenda a few months ago, I think you had the,
this month?
It was April, and you said that you were going to pass it around to get it
right,
signed.
but did you have the original to do the packet?
I
Because
only had
that's-
what you gave me.
Well, I think you have the original, so it's a different piece of paper, and so we will look for it.
All right. So no, she has not gotten it to me.
Correct, it's not yet signed.
I have nothing. Compliments, there's quite a bit of wording, but I think in speaking, we're going to try to bring this down so that we're not trying to review three pages of minutes in the future. If there are no other comments, then I will make the motion to approve the April 19th, 2022 regular board meeting minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. It is moved and seconded
I'll
to
second.
approve the regular board meeting of April 19th, 2022. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is correspondence and announcements. Kathy, do we have anything?
I have nothing, no.
All right.
Do you have an announcement for Jason?
I'm sorry, yes. Jason is not available this evening, so he
Okay.
will not be here. I had mentioned it to Alan earlier, but
Okay.
you're right. Next item is the approval of the agenda. Anyone have any changes to the agenda?
I have none.
Alan? None. All set? All right. I do have one. I would like to add an item under board discussion. We have an issue that recently came up in now a staff meeting that I'm having with the fire and ambulance group. And it's related to our ability to attract paramedics to our EMS team. So Mike is going to cover the basics of that when we pull his consent agenda item. But I'm going to need the board to listen to a couple of options and maybe do a little brainstorming. Is there any objection to adding that item to the agenda?
No.
All right. I make the motion then that the agenda be accepted as presented with changes. Is there a second?
I'll second it. Where are we
Thank you.
putting that?
Yeah, is that going to be number 8 under new business?
No, it's in board discussion.
Okay.
The other one is board action.
E.
Help me, what number are you adding it to?
E.
E? Okay, thank you.
If there's no other discussion regarding the motion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is passed. We will open up for the first citizen comment. Please respect the 4-minute limit. Also, board, as a reminder, this is not a citizen debate. Board members can respond during the final board comment section of the agenda if they feel it's necessary. Any comments? We have our
Commissioner?
normal commissioner is here.
Normal? Normal?
On, nothing from the bunker here.
No.
Now you got to turn it on. He's got it.
Got it. So I am currently on the Capital Improvements Committee for Antrim County. And one of the projects that is been submitted for consideration is Barnes Park down here to do an expansion to make another, I don't have the paperwork in front of me, but it's a fair number. I think it's 40 campsites. And I've been getting mixed comments on that, so I would appreciate any feedback that anybody has. There's some people from this area that think that Barnes Park is big enough, and we don't want to bring a whole bunch more people here. That Northern Michigan can only hold so many people. And there's other people that think that we should expand it, and having more people come up here, hopefully they'll spend some money here and hopefully stimulate the economy. So I'm hearing both sides. And since this park is right in your backyard, I would like to hear any of the board or any of the residents of Torch Lake Township would be useful and appreciated on this topic.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
I know they have both tent camping and parking spaces for trailers, et cetera. The extra spaces that they're adding, do we know where they're proposed to add them?
Yeah, they're planning to add a new drive, and the first year, the drive is in the plan is supposed to be worked on this fall, but the first step would be tent camping.
Okay,
These things go through a process, so the easiest thing to set up is to add tent camping,
Okay.
and then maybe change some of the other tent camping to more
okay.
modern or convenient, whatever you want to call it. Some of it I call true camping, and some of it's lazy man camping. That's probably more
Glamping.
where I am, but
Glamping, they
Yeah,
call it,
yeah.
glamorized camping.
So is the entrance going to be the same? So the access road is the same?
the entrance, I believe, is going to be the same.
Then you guys need to think about a traffic light up there of some sort. Because it's already in the summertime. There's a lot of impatient people that are passing on the right on that area, and we're going to have it.
It's changing. Are you aware of it? They're changing it,
Changing.
the direction of the park.
Yeah.
So when you drive in, you can't go straight. They're changing it,
Yeah, but are they still making the left where they make, or the
No.
right?
when you drive into the campground, when you enter the campground.
I should have brought my
only go-
map, and I
You
didn't.
can only go right.
I'm talking about
He's talking
31.
at 31 and 88. meaning a
At
traffic
31
light.
and 88, where the people turn down that street
Oh,
to go
oh,
to
oh,
the
oh.
park. My
Because that's a
concern
mess
was,
already.
when he said there's another driveway, I'm wondering, okay, is that a different entrance? So now there's two entrances, and is it in the same area, or are they bringing it in from somewhere else? So if they're funneling everything at that intersection of 31 and 88, then we need a traffic light of some sort there, because in the summertime, that corner is nuts.
Mhm.
Last year, when I left the Petoskey Stone Festival, I must have sat there for 5 to 10 minutes.
Right.
I mean, I was going to turn, and finally I just went straight because I couldn't get a free spot to turn.
Well, I had mentioned to Bert that the guy that sits in the real estate office there watches that traffic in the summertime, and the people, because you can make a left-hand turn, you got the right-hand turn lane, and the impatient people going north are passing on the right, and the people coming out of M88 are not looking for that.
Right.
So somebody's going to get nailed there at some point. So we need to just think about, if you're going to do that, increase the traffic, we got to figure out that traffic flow and what it's going to take to protect that corner.
I should probably submit a formal request to the road commission now that because I had the same problem last year, and it's just going to get worse if we have more.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct. So you're not adding any land, you're not buying any more land around it then?
Nope.
Okay. But I know that the road structure inside is changing around too, so people have to get used to a new directional inside the campground too, so.
Right. So now is this like phase one of 2 phases, or is this the last of your property, or you still have more property to go?
I think there's 3 phases, and this would be phase 1. It hasn't passed the full committee yet, so, I mean, I could tell you the whole plan, but it's
No,
probably
that's
going to be revised, so I just gave you the broad brush.
So then I guess,
Heads up.
there's going to be the follow-up question then, is it one entrance? Are you going to have a second entrance then? Because that just multiplies the problem.
Right.
Okay, very good.
What is
Anything
the
else?
process for input?
Anyone can write the Capital Improvements Committee, or you can write any of the commissioners for that matter, but there's 3 commissioners that sit on the Capital Improvements Committee for
You're
entry.
one of them.
I'm one of them. Commissioner Jason Howig from Mansalona and Dawn Levanway from Echo Township. Those are the 3 that are on. And then we have 4 people, I believe, from county administration, and then 2 from the planning commission. The 2 from the planning commission are Gary Lockwood and Richard Frisky.
We also have the parks manager too, is James Hunter.
Is a park a break even?
You know, that's an interesting question.
Repeat that? I didn't hear that.
He said, is the park a break-even enterprise? Last year, we lost a little money on it, but we were navigating the newness of Camp Spot, which is the online way to reserve parkings or campsites. And now that I think we got that squared away, I mean, to maximize revenue, you have to maximize the number of days that each campsite is occupied because you get paid per night. So I think this year, I think we're going to actually make money on it. When they opened it up in April, they sold over $200,000 worth of camp spots in the first week. So, I mean, everybody wants to get their weekend or their week, whatever, and county residents get a discount, but yeah. So we got a new parks director and we're navigating the process, but the goal is that it'll be a positive instead of a negative this year.
Okay, thank you.
And who is your new park for Barnes Park director? You
I
hired-
forgot her name.
Okay, gotcha. I think I know who it is because I was at the meeting, so,
Yeah.
okay.
The other thing, a couple other things I want to bring to your attention. The road commission meeting this week, the engineer Bert Thompson is looking into the possibility of constructing a hammerhead head turn around at the beach at the end of Traverse Bay Road to make it easier for the fire department to turn around the rescue boat. And he is supposed to be submitting that to the Board of Road Commissions next month. And
Well, can you tell me what that is? A
I was gonna say,
hammerhead
I have no
turnaround?
idea what that means. I didn't want to be the only dumb one.
no, I'm not an engineer either, but
Bill could help you if you want Bill to, he can tell you.
let Bill
Right.
tell you. I don't want to,
Mislead.
I don't want to muddy the waters.
Well, hammerhead sounds something like, yeah, but that's what I was wondering.
Well, the concern was always the people parking on the beach in the summertime, and they're up the beach somewhere nowhere to be found. And the firemen end up having to carry the boat often to the water, which they can do. I mean, but it takes at least 3. Is that going to be solved in any way with regard to?
That's the goal.
Alan, we're-
Let's get the report.
Yeah, Bill will address it. We had a meeting with Bert down there.
Oh, okay,
and-
okay.
And
All
so
right,
Bill
thank you.
can bring you
Yep.
up to date on that.
And the other thing, every year the road commission, Bert Thompson, has someone from the state that comes and does a drive through all the primary roads. I think they're called state primary roads, if you want to know the full. And they do the PASER rating, which is the pavement analysis surface rating. And the state roads are actually, over the last 4 years, are moving in a little bit of a positive direction, which is good because a lot of our township roads are going the other way. In 2019, we had 91 miles of poor rated roads, and this year we had 57 miles. And in 2019, we had 54 miles that were rated as good, and this year we had 71 miles. There's 218 miles, I believe, of the state
Highways.
state primary roads in Antrim County. And the rating was missed in 2020 due to COVID, but we got it done in 2021, and it just got completed again about 2 weeks ago for 2022. We still have, most townships have problems. Even primary roads, the road commission doesn't have enough money to keep even some primary roads in Torch Lake Township where we would like them to be. So it's an ongoing discussion. Banks Township, they're looking at Essex Road right now. They've submitted to the road commission how much money would the township have to kick in to get Essex Road redone and moved up the list, because they have a 4-year plan, and apparently it must be on year 5 because it's not on the 4-year plan. So they're trying to get it on the plan, and they're trying to get it moved up, and the road commission is going through that process.
All right,
I
great.
just
Thank you.
drove that road yesterday. Oh, God.
All right,
5 more years doesn't sound too pleasant, does it?
all right. We'll jump to consent agenda. Sheriff,
Well, I was gonna say, is there any other,
nobody else had, that was the only one that came in.
you have any
Nobody
comments,
else filled
public?
out. Absolutely. The other,
Just real quick, the stats that we've done from month to month when I'm here, comparatively of April of 22 to April of 21, you had 3 911 checks in 22 of April, you had 6 last year. Dropping down, medical calls were down significantly, you had 2, you had 10 in the year before. Property damage accidents, you have none this year, you had 1 in 2021 of April. Personal injury accidents, you have 0 in both months of April of both years. The other one we talked about, traffic stops were down by 1, you had 2, you had 3 the previous year. You had 33 calls of service for 2022 of April, and in April of 2021, you had 50. So you're down a little bit this from year to year. Real quickly, personnel-wise, we had 3 just graduate from Kirtland. They just started on a road. I think I'm driving HR department nuts because I started them each, started one Monday, one Tuesday, one Wednesday. The week before, we promoted 4 sergeants. So it's been a real process trying to get through some of that stuff. So we're making some headway. We've got 2 in backgrounds right now for road patrol also, which will bring me up to my 5 people that are needed. In the jail, some of you may know Todd Rowling. Todd Rowling is going to retire June 17th this year. So I've got a guy that's going out with 31 years experience, and my undersheriff will probably retire sometime late fall. So my turnover rate has been significant this last year and a half. A lot of changes coming, a lot of newness. My road patrol will be 3 years, about 3/4 of my road patrol will be 3 years and less in experience. So I tell you that, just bear with us. It's coming. I've got a great group of people. It's a good change, but it's a lot of young coming into the work world. Just real quick also, the 911 millage will be on the ballot in August. That's a renewal of 0.15 of a half a mil. I think the 911 board and the Board of Commissioners have done a good job at really managing that money for operating, and also mainly keep up technology, as you know, is changing continually in that division or in that area, and we've done a really good job of keeping up with what we need there. Also, one thing that came out of the CIP was facilities. I'm still advocating for a new jail and a new administration building. The jail has had its problems, and we're still seeing those problems, and it's not going to change until something like that does. So there are some things in the works through CIP and moving administration temporarily, and then being able to start looking at long-term and how they're going to handle fixing or replacing the jail as we go. So I just want to bring that up also. I don't know if there's any questions.
None for me. Anybody on the board?
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Sheriff. All right, the rest of the consent agenda, I would like to pull the fire, the ambulance, and we'll have verbal from the deputy supervisor. Anybody else have a report they want to pull? If not, then the rest of the items are approved by consent, and we can start with Mike on the ambulance.
I'm sorry. Mr. Hawkins, did you say you had the park report to read? So do we want to pull that out also?
Well, there's two items for the park.
Okay,
One is on the front. If you look on the back, there was one in information only. And I think what you have is for the one on the information only, which is the update on the operations of the day park. All right,
Okay,
so that goes
okay.
on the second
I
one.
just want to make sure.
All right, Mike.
I'm sorry, Mike.
Thank you. A couple highlights on my report. As you're aware, we have, since the last month and a half, we've had an EMT position that's currently open. We did fill it. That person didn't really work out very well, had some issues with their personal issues. So we have another one that's a volunteer firefighter on this department, Donovan Stone, who is currently in orientation and is doing very well from what I understand. So he should be ready to go by the end of May. Of course, we've been down a paramedic since we lost one. We're down one shift a week, so the team of the 3 paramedics have done a very good job of picking that up. We met with Bob and Kathy at our staff meeting to discuss the overtime, and you had 110 hours of unscheduled overtime, and that's related to them filling that 24-hour shift once a week that Dave, Lisa, and Shanna are picking up right now. So that allows us to have the ALS coverage every day. Our runs for April were down, just like the sheriff's department, calls were down. I don't know what happened this April, but we were down, and we had a few calls that were outside the territory, Central Lake particularly. I understand tonight they're over in Elk Rapids. So I'm not sure what's going on with MMR, but they went on a call just before I got here. Patient billing continues to be submitted every week or every other week, and we're doing a really good job with that. I think you're seeing that revenue come in quite often. Next month, I will be presenting to the board, and I've already discussed it at our staff meeting, the new contract with Acumed, and also the contract with the collections agency that collaborates with Acumed. The collection agency will only be based on what they collect. So there's really no cost to that other than they get a percentage. Acumed has dropped the percentage rate from 8.25 down to 7. Yay.
Yay.
And we also got a 3-year contract versus a 5-year. And the other aspect of that contract is we were able to negotiate them coming up here once a year to visit with us, just to talk about billing changes, Medicare, Medicaid, and to help us in regards to our billing. But we're actually doing a very good job. We continue to turn payroll in Saturday, Monday after payroll is done, so you always get that early. So if there's any questions, it can be addressed immediately. So that continues to be done. Ted basically does it, I review it, and then I say, okay, send it in. So that's being done. And I don't think we've had a lot of issues in the past 6 months with that, doing it that way. So it's given Sharon a chance to look at it ahead of time so that if there's any questions, we can answer those. We met with Dr. Smith and Bill from Medical Control Authority. They like what we're doing out here. And they are going to be coming out here in June to do a mandatory in-service. We discussed at our administrative staff meeting. And in-service will be high-risk, low-volume type calls. So he's going to review a few of those and do some scenarios. We may be bringing a sim man out here. The sim man is a training module that can be used to demonstrate live actions of a body. A sim man. So it's a pretty awesome tool, and we may be bringing that out. But anyhow, Dr. Smith is very pleased with our performance out here. He mentioned how happy he was the way it was going, and was very happy with the township board's support.
Where's he coming at here?
He's coming here.
In
So I
June.
will schedule that. It'll be sometime in June. I'm just waiting. He has to get his schedule from the hospital because he works some ER shifts. So as soon as he gets that, then I'll have it. Everything else is doing well. We had a cardiac arrest 4 weeks ago, and we now pull those charts up, and Ted and I review them. It's been a good learning experience for Ted, and sometimes we'll pull the paramedic or the EMT in, and we'll go through it. It's a critique, but it's not a negative critique. It's more of what could we have done, what we need to do, what we didn't do, or was there anything that we could have done? So it was a very good experience for the team as well as for Ted. And we start critiquing. We've done 2 now, and we'll continue that process. It definitely improves the practice for our EMTs and paramedics. And then Bob's going to go into a little bit more, but we've been trying to recruit paramedics, and it's been a really difficult situation. Statewide, there were 30 paramedics that graduated in the last 4 months. And there's currently like 300 openings in the state. So you can understand the dilemma out there. So Bob and I and the rest of the team, Kevin was in there, discussed some ways of recruiting and or keeping or bringing them on board to here on call. I know that Long Lake Township, which is similar to ours, is having the same issues, and they made one recommendation, which I shared with Bob, and he'll be talking about that more during board discussion. But it's definitely an issue, and I mean, our team is doing good, but it's costing us an overtime. But the problem with that is there's burnout eventually. And you can only do that so often, and the money isn't everything. So we'll be discussing that further. But we're not the only one having that problem. Currently, Township Ambulance Authority is down 2 full-time paramedics at this time. So they're actually 1 day a week, they're down ALS unit, but they have the capability, they're licensed for 1 ALS unit, so they usually have 2 on every day. So if they drop down to 1, they're still maintaining their licensure. So they run like Bel Air, maybe be a basic, and Massillon will be ALS or vice versa. They're doing that about once a week now. And so Shannon and I have been talking about how we can bring on more paramedics and what we can do in Northern Michigan. And we talked about Kathy was there. We talked about some issues like housing, et cetera, what we can maybe do. So we have to think outside the box, and they've been very receptive. Again, Bob will share that in board discussion. And that's all I have.
Good. Any questions, board? All right, thank you.
Mike.
Kevin, fire?
On May 23rd, at about 1:23 a.m., we responded to a structure fire, Arrowhead Court. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. We
Closer.
responded to a structure
Pull it right
fire.
out of there.
We responded to a structure fire at Arrowhead Court. Upon arriving, people were out of the house, but the initial report from Central Dispatch was that one person was still upstairs as this fire was occurring. So we much assumed that we probably had also a rescue on this night. It took me 11 minutes response time from my home to get there, and Engine 1 was on scene right behind me. The individual had left the residence and was safe outside, but we had 10 firefighters from our department on scene at 1:30 at night. And that was a very good turnout for us for that time of night. And we also had assistance from Central Lake Fire Department, and we had assistance from Milton Township Fire Department. So we had like 25, probably around 25 firefighters on scene that night.
Excellent.
That is a good turnout. And so the damage to that home was involved in the kitchen area, and there was some smoke damage. One person had minor burns to the hand and some smoke inhalation. After we had started cleaning up, I did an initial fire investigation. And what struck me about this structure, after talking to the resident, they did not have fire alarms downstairs. And this is my fire prevention speech, that everybody in the township should be coming back from the winter, needs to check their fire alarms and make sure that they're actively working. And these also, if they've been there for more than 10 years, they need replaced. The life expectancy is 10 years on smoke detectors. So regardless of replacing the batteries, if it's 10 years, replace it. Because the gentleman told me when he opened the bedroom door, when he smelled smoke, the black smoke just rolled into the bedroom. And that's what started the whole thing. This could have been a very devastating loss of life fire, but fortunately he woke up to the smell of the smoke and was able to get everybody out safely. With that said, when we were doing training last Wednesday, we discovered that engine 2 has a oil leak occurring again on the main pump. So we have a mechanic coming Saturday, and he's going to repair this. Our suspicion is the seal that holds the packing in is leaking, and that's why the oil is coming out of the pump. So that engine 2 is down. But also on engine 2, during our maintenance check, we discovered that the air tanks are slowly deteriorating on that engine also. So we're going to find a mechanic and get some quotes on how much it's going to cost us to replace these air tanks. And also the exhaust system is starting to fail on that also. So I'd like to probably incorporate this on maybe one bill and get everything repaired. But I'm going to start changing my board reports to start including these things that come along, that the board will have any questions when they read the fire department report, they be able to pull the report, and then they can ask me any questions concerning any maintenance or problems going on with the engine. The engine 2s are one of our oldest engines right now, but these are just minor things. It's just age of the thing. The engine's fine, and I think with just some minor repairs, we'll get that engine back in service. So that's pretty much all I have.
Great.
Is that engine in here or north or south?
It's at Station 2.
Station 2.
Yes.
And that's good to put on your report. Thank you for that, because at any time that there's an episode that might happen, they want to be able to look at reports and see what was done and so forth. So that's good to add to your report.
Yeah, this was discussed during staff meeting, and I thought it was a very good idea. So I said I'll start incorporating that change into the
I
report.
think we used to do it a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah. So that you'll see a change in that next month.
That's
Okay.
great.
Great.
Thank you.
Tell the guys, we appreciate them coming out at 1:30.
Okay, we'll do it. Thank you.
All right. Bill, you always give good verbal reports and you hate sending me the Excel spreadsheet, so.
You never gave it back to me to send to you, so I can't send it.
It's your model. It's on your computer.
No, it's your model.
No, it isn't. Jackie sends me the one from you. Do you want me to send it to you from now on?
No, I rather.
All right, there you go. Good.
So we don't have a piece of paper, correct?
No.
No,
This back-to-back stuff makes it difficult to
Well-
find the report, and I understand why we do it.
He said verbal.
The Day Park Road is complete. I know the sign should be arriving any day so that it'll be now truly a one-way park. But now everyone will be entering by the upper pavilion and going down the hill. This will allow us to put 2 handicap spots right in front of the bathrooms. Cut down the chance that any child or even adult for that matter can dart out of the bathroom and get hit by a car either pulling in or pulling out of the park.
What are the signs that are coming?
There's signs that'll be coming, various signs. Number one, entrance only.
Directional
Right
signs.
way, one
Directional
way?
sign, yep.
Okay, because I was driving through there today and because the lady couldn't get in the first one, she came in the out, not knowing that, and like,
Yep.
we were real close to.
Yep.
So that's
So,
good to know.
About 50% of the signs yesterday were here. I don't know which ones they were and which ones were coming today or
Okay.
tomorrow.
So one-way kind of
Yep.
things, yeah.
But as far as the road goes and the new pad for the garbage and whatnot, is all complete. Let's
Looks
see.
nice,
As
actually.
far as the preserve hammerhead that was mentioned earlier, we met down there, Bob and I and some members of the fire department with the road commission. And one of the ideas that came up out of that was rather than try to turn the entire truck and boat around in one big loop, to build a hammerhead, which is basically a T at the end of the road. Make that T a no parking zone, make that a fire lane to where the fire department can pull down, either choose to turn right or left onto that, back up, and then be able to face back towards US 31 to either get water, launch the boat, etc. That would allow for not any loss of parking that is down there now. However, this hammerhead would be the closest thing to the water, and we can clearly define that, no parking past that point. Then at that point, it's just up for the township to keep up with the maintenance of the sand and whatnot after the winter blowing up on there and building up, which is something we've had to clean up in the past. As far as the pavement work goes here, we're hoping that if the weather stays, that work will get started on Thursday. They will call me with 24-hour notice. I've already talked to the fire department tonight about the potential of tomorrow night at their training, having to turn the vehicles around for a couple of days and exit the rear of the building and pull in the front rather than the customary thing. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Is the sheriff going to take care of the parking down there with regard to parking in the wrong area?
If this is allowed to go in, which it's a lot to go through because first of all, the road commission has to find out what part of critical dunes work applies to the road commission doing work on a public road. What types of permits might be necessary in order for them to do that work and what that timeline looks like. As far as enforcement is concerned, anyone will be able to enforce it from either our ordinance, our fire chief, our ordinance enforcement, or a county sheriff. Anyone would be able to, at that point, if it all goes the way we would like to see it go, anyone would be able to enforce parking in that fire lane.
Is it on the county property or our property? We don't have a lot of frontage there.
No, it would be on the county
So we'll be able to give tickets on the county property?
if it's deemed a fire lane.
Okay.
Now, just to give you a little more background, I went last year to talk to them, and we thought we had an agreement. They didn't agree with that. So the parking down there is still there. But when we were down there, there's not a lot of room. And with this hammerhead, I think we said there might be 2 or 3 spots that would be available. So until they pass this and approve it, we're not going to move forward with the extra parking that we had in the capital plan. Once we get them to do what we need them to do so that our equipment can get in, then we will move forward on the other 10 parking spots that we've identified to put in. That basically, as I told Bert, he might be losing 2 or 3 down there, but we're willing to give him 10. So it's not a bad trade-off for them for their main thesis of access to the water.
And I did notice that Bert did grade the preserve road this
Today.
week.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good.
Today they were out there with a grader.
So that's gotten done, and we have the cemetery roads going in July.
Great.
And I know that Gary had mentioned it last year, but once those roads go in, the board should start to think about adding water to that latest new part of the cemetery because that cemetery, new part got added and it's filling up so fast and the water's never been added down there because the roads were never built. So once those roads go in
Yeah.
and the amount of burials that are already taking place in there and will continue to take place, we should add the water infrastructure necessary along the sides of those roads to get back.
We'll just put it on the agenda when it's ready to go, when we need to do it. Because I believe we put money in the budget for that.
We did not put any money in the budget for the
Water.
water.
For the water drainage?
No.
No, we're talking water supply.
So
Oh,
water
okay.
the plants and flowers
Oh,
out
all
there.
right.
Yeah. It
Got
just never was done because the roads were never done.
Right.
I
So
thought we
once
were
the
still
roads
back.
once the roads go in, it would be nice to
Perfect.
follow it up with that.
People
Yep,
carry their water
perfect.
cans
Yeah,
around.
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, anything else?
Nope.
All right,
The only
thanks,
question-
Bill. Oh, you
The
have
only
a
question I had is, how much time do you think that Hammerhead project decision will take? Where is it at now? Is it with the road commission then?
It's at the road commission and Bert has to deal with all of the agencies as it pertains to
Oh,
it being a
that's right.
county road
Right,
project.
Okay, gotcha. Dunes and this and that.
Yeah,
okay,
so it's got to go through Eagle, it's got to go through the state,
Gotcha.
so.
Well, there's, with the sand that's moved down there, when we were down there, there's not going to be a lot of parking. So that's going to be a minor issue. It's still going to be a major issue for us. And our only backup plan is Creswell.
Well, and the only thing that we have to keep on top of is as the summer progresses, if that sand down there gets any worse, we may have to go in midsummer and clean some more sand out so that they stand a chance of launching that boat. Because the day we were there, it was pretty borderline of whether or not they could make it over the hump to actually get the boat in the water. And last summer, we cleared it 100%, but this winter put a toll on it. And now that the water is receding, it is now starting to blow more sand up there. So if it gets much worse, we will have to go up there and remove some more of that.
Hey, Kevin, will you monitor that so for the sand so that you can let us know when you think it's serious and we need to do something for your equipment?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, just give Bill a call or some, but
Yeah, 'cause
that way you
I
keep
can
your
get
eyes.
I can get a permit real quick for us to go down and move it, and then we get somebody down there and move that sand.
That was just the issue that Bill took care of last year. We were having to back up and upgrade, and it made it more difficult with the amount of sand coming up. So he took care of that, sloped the grade more toward the water, which made a big difference when we launched the boat down there. So that does help out tremendously.
You know what we might want to look at is when we look at the 10 spots, there's 6 on one side, 4 on the other. I wonder if there's a way to squeeze in a turnaround, where they come down and can back up and then back down without having to go all the way down. I don't know if we could squeeze another one out of there.
It's a long way to back down
Yeah.
when you're in an emergency situation.
Well, I'm just thinking if they drive all the
Especially
way
if you have a
down.
trailer.
Well, if they drive all the way down, they can't turn around because of cars or some, then they've wasted that whole time. It's just my thought. They would see that they wouldn't be able to do it. Just a thought.
Yep.
All right,
Get
Bill,
down there
thank
and
you.
blow that horn at them.
Yeah, but then they got to pull out and try to get by them. It's a nightmare. All right. That takes care of those items. I make the motion to accept the fire, ambulance, and deputy supervisor reports. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next item, special reports. I will, with Jason being gone, I will just briefly state that the Planning Commission had 2 nights of meetings and they approved all 3 of the items, Scoop 31, the Memorial Day activities at the air park, and the denial on the Dollar General. So I thought The planning commission did a spectacular job. Alan and I were talking earlier, and he is in agreement that they went through it methodically and they made sure they had all the i's dotted and t's crossed. Would you agree, Alan?
Yes.
So hats off to those guys.
Men and
FOIA,
women.
guys, you know, it's a team. Jeez. FOIA report.
Yep, I was writing, I'm sorry. We have one open FOIA report still, and we have responded to that person, but I don't believe we've closed that one out, but that's it, one.
What's still open on that? I thought,
Well, we talked to you about it, so we approved items 1, 2, and 4 and denied item 3.
right?
Number 4 was taken care of. She came in and looked at the minutes. I want to double check on items 1 and 2, whether there's anything else we need to supply. But I think her 1 and 2 was covered
Well,
by the minutes.
that
So
was-
that's why I want to,
Well,
I think we're done.
Yeah, that was kind of what I took when she left on Saturday, but
okay.
that's fine. Let's double down on that.
Okay.
On the finance report, we're starting that early part of the year where every month is a negative cash flow, and it will be until we get to December. The April cash flow was negative by 35,000 for the whole township. That was down versus last year. We were 148,000 ahead of budget. The drivers on that was that we had started budgeting the road work for April, and that's not going to happen. So we're probably going to have some positive budget dollars for the next couple of months related to the road work that we had scheduled. We had higher delinquent tax collections of 45,000, which was ahead of what we thought we would get, and slightly lower operating costs on the fire department and the general fund. The general fund has 1.1 million in it. The fire fund has 528,000. The ambulance is 641,000, and the road fund has 296,000. That still puts us in good position for the next 8 months based on our cash flow estimate. With that, we will move on to the next item. We have the agenda for board action. We have no new old business. We have 7 items to consider under new business. Give me a minute. All right, on the first one, we were contacted by an individual who has a parcel of property that's adjacent, that butts up to the township's parcel number 05-14-415-068-05. It is a landlocked parcel that was given to the township a while ago. So Sharon, could you share some of
Yeah.
the facts on that?
I can. When I got that email, I reached out and did some investigation. The township acquired that through a quitclaim deed in 1996 from a Mr. Ching Chang Chu IP. He's from California. He apparently had this these 2 parcels, which is described as lots 11 and 12, block 24, plat of Bayview Beach Sub. And I would suspect that he did not want these parcels anymore and didn't want to go through forfeiture status, which takes time. So he just deeded it to the township. When I contacted the officials during that time frame, I asked why they got it, and they said they don't really remember why. They didn't want it, but they accepted it. And sometimes people want to give it away towards the township as a gift. It's of no value to the township. And I would make a recommendation to, it wasn't taxpayer dollars that we received it, purchased it from a tax sale or anything. It was just deeded to the township to get rid of it. So I would make a recommendation that we don't need this, and to make an agreement of purchase to the inquirer that's put it forth to our, so if there's any questions, anybody, Kathy, Alan?
No, I don't. It's good to put it back on the tax roll, make it a little
That-
larger
that's-
parcel there.
That's exactly what I said, put it back on the tax roll.
It's not landlocked, though. There are roads through that.
Well, this particular one has, if you look at the county map and see it all, it's just one little dot there that's, so that Bayview just, slot
look like-
11 and 12, block 24. It doesn't adjacent to anything else that I can see on the map that shows a roadway type of thing.
In the email that we received from the person that's adjacent to it said it was a landlocked piece of property.
Yeah, when I look at the map, there's
So-
nothing surrounding
We,
this.
we can go out and look at it. I talked to Jason about it and is it an acre?
No,
Yeah, it's less than that. It's smaller. So
No.
Jason said, $1,500, $2,000 for something like
At the
that.
most.
I mean, it's not going to be a lot. So the
Well, if
question.
the owner, if the other person wants it, and again, well, you could-
what I wanted to do was talk, I already contacted the assessor. Of course, it hasn't been on the roll since 1996. So there's no value that has been shown anywhere. She would have to put it back on for a value. And she didn't want to do anything until we gave her some kind of confirmation that we're going to get rid of it in that event that she could do it. But yeah, this definitely was a piece of property just deeded over to the township because they didn't want it anymore back in 96 from this gentleman from Alabama, something, California.
So board, if there's any other comment? If not, if somebody wants to make a motion on this, I drafted something. I'm not sure if it's absolutely perfect. Do we have to do a public notification of selling of our property before we can? We
Not,
can do that?
not because it was just deeded over to us, no,
Okay.
not to my findings. If it's something that the township purchased with taxpayer dollars, like in forfeiture status type of properties, we cannot sell the property. We have several of those pieces around that is owned by the township that we purchased through a forfeiture sale through the county, first rights of refusal. But this one doesn't fall into that category at all.
Then, board, I'll make a motion to approve the sale of Torch Lake Township property parcel 05-14-415-068-05 at a price negotiated by the supervisor and treasurer. Do I have a second?
The only thing, could we add behind that property number
Yep.
is put the legal description in there? Because
Okay.
not most people won't, they'll look at that and they can look at a legal description. So the legal description would say lots 11 and 12, comma, block BLK 24, and it's plat of Bay View Beach sub NO number, just an NO 1.
All right, so lots 11 and 12, block 24, plat of Bayview Beach, sub number 1.
Mhm.
All right, so I will amend that and insert that after the parcel number. I will make that change. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, the motion's been made and seconded to approve the sale of Torch Lake Township property parcel 05-14-415-068-05. Legal description lots 11 and 12, block BLK 24, plat of Bayview Beach sub number 1 at a price negotiated by the supervisor and treasurer. Kathy, would you do a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Bob, you're first.
Yes.
Alan,
yes,
Jason absent, Sharon,
Yes.
and myself will also say yes.
All right.
This motion is approved 4-0.
Thank you, board. All right, item number 2 is also Sharon's.
All right. Let me flip my page here. Is that the EMS?
That's a
Oh,
COVID.
thing, okay. All right. I have been looking at this sign on our door since May of 18th of 2021. And it says until further notice. So we've been looking at this type of sign. And when I dug out what we did May of 18th meeting of 2021, we did a rules for employees and the public related to the use, conduct, and procedures during the COVID-19 emergency at the Township Community Service Buildings. At that time, it says the first paragraph is access to CSB is limited to elected and appointed officials, employees, individuals doing business with the various officials of the township and attendees to the meetings. Until further notice, there will be no meetings outside of the groups or by use of the non-employees of the CSB building. We have had a lot of, already currently, a lot of hall rentals already being used. This is just very outdated now, and I would like make a motion to rescind this May 18th, 2021 notice. Rules, I don't know if there's a name to it, other than what I just read.
COVID guidelines is what the,
Rules of employees and the public related to the use, conduct, and procedures during the COVID emergency at the Township Community Service Building. Rescind this because we are already actively using this building, which doesn't sustain this motion.
I think the motion was, it was the emergency guidelines
Okay,
with COVID. So we could do that and just, so the motion to rescind the emergency guidelines related to COVID past 5/18/21. Is that your motion?
that'll be my motion then.
All right.
Yep, I didn't know
I'll
if we needed
second.
a
All right,
official one
Kathy,
here.
any further discussion?
Then we have no restrictions anymore?
We would not, I mean, we're still using the building. These restrictions are outdated.
What restrictions, are there restrictions in effect? of any
No, I
kind?
actually got on for about an hour and a half on the, and I looked through the governors, the state, the northern region up here. I went through trying to find a COVID restriction for a community building such as this. I could not find one anywhere.
There's none at the county level?
Nope.
Okay.
Any other
And
discussion?
if we didn't rescind this, I'd have to cancel every single person that's already got plans out there. So as far as money's already renting the hall.
I think we got it.
Okay,
All right,
who seconded it?
I do.
Kathy did. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, the next item is with Sharon.
Okay.
Fred.
Let me find my, what's on the
Turned my
backside?
packet upside down, now it's all.
All right.
Okay.
I'll find it.
Again, when I was looking at last year's minutes, when I was digging up this information on this COVID thing here that we passed, I pulled up the minutes from the township in May, and we also did a nice resolution because it's EMS week. And an EMS week is May 15th through the 21st of 2022. And we did a summary of resolve, and I'd like to do a new one for this year for the EMS week. I resolve, or the township resolves, that the week of May 15th through the 21st, I've got 23rd on this motion, 2022 is EMS Appreciation Week, and the theme this year is EMS Rising to the Challenge. The community of Torch Lake Township wants to let our EMS team know that they are greatly appreciated for their outstanding service, providing the best services for its citizens. We are proud of the men and women who serve as our EMS team. They are first-class organization and our best wishes for their constant safety and good health for the upcoming year. I make this motion.
I'll second it. Any further discussion? If not, Kathy, would you have a roll call vote, please?
I will, but kudos to our EMS.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Cook,
Yes.
myself, yes. Mr. Martell,
Yes,
Mr. Merchant absent, Ms. Schultz.
Yes, and I will get a copy of this and put it in a color piece of paper and make sure, last year I taped it to all their lockers back there. Can I still, huh? Oh, and I got cookies for them too. I got cookies for them tomorrow, and I taped one of these to their lockers. Is that still permissible for me to do? All right, thank you.
All right, board, next item. I will start the discussion on this. Board, during our last budget review, we did not adjust the pay for Sharon's work on processing payroll. In fact, that is the second year that we had not done it, as she assumed this role back in January of 2021. In addition, when we first had this discussion at the time of transfer from Kathy, outsourcing our payroll was in the $8,000 to $10,000 range, and I pushed for a wage of $25 per hour for Sharon because she volunteered to take it on. Sharon would only accept $20 per hour in order to manage the costs for the township at that time. Given the complexity of our payroll, she has found numerous problems during the transition, as well as issues in the fire department, which she has since corrected. She's probably the only person that would have found those due to her knowledge of the business. I believe that to outsource this now would cost more than a couple years ago, and I doubt we would get better service. Given the importance of this role and compared to other rates in the township, I think she deserves a rate increase of $30 to $30 of what she should have received originally. I want to remind the board and community that my motion is only a draft to begin our discussion, but I believe she is well worth it and has done a fantastic job in our payroll system. So board, I open it up for your thoughts. Any objections?
I have comments.
All right.
And I'm going to address my comments to this proposal as well as to the one coming up about the zoning
Well,
administrator.
let's keep it one at a time.
Well, in that how they relate to one another.
Well,
or don't.
they don't. They're different jobs. Please stay with the one that's before us.
All right, well, through MTA, I have learned a number of times that when it comes to salaries, rates of pay, et cetera, that it's not about a person. It's not about Sharon or Kathy or whomever. It's about the position. And in my opinion, the position hasn't changed. The position hasn't increased. There's no certification or anything that Sharon has achieved by doing this job. We perhaps should have talked about it before April, before we did our new budget, but it was not addressed at that time. And I would not be in favor of this raise.
All right. Alan, any comment?
the only concern, I have no problem with the way it's arranged right now. But you mentioned one time you went on holiday and you waited until payroll was done and then you left for holiday, or you came back from holiday so you could make payroll. My concern is if you're not here to do payroll, whatever that cause might be, we're in a bind, and I'm not sure how we would get out of that on quick notice. People would need their pay. I mean, nobody knows how to do it but you.
No, that's not true, Alan. I am still capable of doing the payroll. I
Well,
know how to do
You
the
have
payroll.
knowledge of the payroll.
I
and
know
think-
how to do the
And I
payroll.
think part of our plan on that, Alan, was on the deputy for the treasurer. But I think if I look at what she has done for the last year and a half, she has planned her vacations and holidays around every payroll. So she has made it part of her process not to be gone with payroll. Now, you are correct. We don't have a backup, but we don't have a backup on a couple of things as well. So that would be something we'd have to try to address, but it would be somebody in the community that would want to do it and learn how to do it. And I'm happy to have people, if they want to call me and say, I'm interested in providing backup service, but at this point, I don't see a lot of people running to the door to do it. And I don't want to lose Sharon doing it.
No, I understand.
So.
That was just a concern. I know that.
You are honestly saying you would take an outsider over the clerk who did this job since, what, 2008, when I was elected?
In a heartbeat.
Oh, I thank you very much for your faith in my ability.
In this particular area, that's my judgment. And as
Okay.
supervisor, we would definitely find a different source. I'm sorry, Kath,
Interesting.
but, well, that should not be a surprise. I have been stating this for
Yes,
a
you
couple of
have.
years, and that's why we moved it out of your office to begin with.
All
So
right.
we don't need to go down that path if you don't
No.
want to.
But don't forget, we have a software system for our payroll. The payroll has been set up. There are times where she needs to do some updates when we lose people or gain people. This is all true when our salaries change in April, et cetera. But it's there. It's right there in the software.
Kath, you had trouble doing it,
I did,
and
all
you,
right, I'm
and you
not-
made
all right.
lots of mistakes,
I did
and
not
those are the
make
things.
lots of
You made
mistakes.
a lot of mistakes because that's why we made the process change. And there are 4 members on this board right
That all
now
agreed,
that were
that knew
all
nothing.
there, and Bill's in the audience. So
All right, all right,
I'm happy to end that discussion if you'd like.
ended.
All right. Therefore, board, any other comment?
Did you actually make the motion?
I
sir?
have not yet.
Okay.
I make the motion to improve the increase of the payroll clerk rate, changing the pay schedule from $20 to $30 effective Monday, May 20th, 2022. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded to approve the changing of the pay schedule to increase the payroll clerk rate from $20 to $30 effective Monday, May 20th, 2022. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote, please, Kathy.
Yep. Sharon?
Yes.
Myself, no. Bob?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes,
And Jason is absent. That motion passes 3-1.
Thank you, board. We will move to the next item. Linda Woodward has been acting as our constant contact leader. We currently are up over 400 people on our list, which is really fantastic. And kudos to Jackie for also helping get that number up. She was able to leverage our recent planning commission activities to improve that list dramatically. So hats off to her.
Doesn't want to look at any more emails.
Currently, Linda serves as our lead scanner at a rate of $16 per hour. I am asking the board to consider aligning the constant contact duties to the $16 rate of the scanner. Therefore, the item would read on our payroll schedule, scanner/constant contact. Those are my thoughts, board. Any thoughts on your part?
I agree. Linda has done a fabulous job in the constant contact, got it going. I have no problem supporting that.
Nor
right.
would I.
All right, good. Well, then I put a motion in your package. I'll make the motion to approve.
And where are we putting it at on the,
If you
Schedule?
look on the schedule, I had it highlighted, should be in orange.
yep, I see scanning personnel.
Yeah, so that, it has a range of 12 to 16. So what it would now read is scanning personnel / constant contact, and it would be at a rate of $16, which would be at the highest rate.
Okay,
I will make the motion to approve the addition of constant contact management to the scanning payroll schedule at $16 per hour.
I second that.
All right, the motion has been made and seconded to approve the addition of constant contact management to the scanning payroll schedule at $16 per hour. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Thank you, board. All right, item number 6. The next item is a good news story for our township. Little over a year ago, our zoning administrator submitted her voluntary resignation, and we needed to address that vacancy. Bill Peterson suggested I consider his wife Jackie. At the same time, we added Sarah as our zoning administrator, along with her duties as the township planner. During the course of the next year, Jackie requested the township support and pay for her taking the zoning administrator's class to further her career in this area. She recently successfully completed the course and passed her exam and has now received her certificate as a zoning administrator. During this time, she requested that she be allowed to work with Sarah at Milton Township. I discussed with Sarah and we figured out how to make it work and we moved forward. That helped her gain additional experience in this area. A couple of days ago, Jackie came to me requesting a pay increase and to be the signer of permits in the zoning administrator's office. I had a discussion with Sarah and she agreed that Jackie could help reduce some of the items Sarah was doing, but we agreed it was still too early to pass the signing authority over to Jackie. We also both agreed that the initial requested dollar amount of Jackie's was high and that a compromise from her current $18.75 to $21 would be reflective of her ability to reduce some of the Sarah's time in the township while continuing to be mentored by Sarah. It has now come to my attention that she has received a pay increase at Milton of $24 per hour. I congratulate her on that. That's what I heard. However, based on her responsibilities here at Torch Lake Township, Sarah and I agreed that our suggested rate would still be at $21. That is the background, board. It's now open for your thoughts.
Well, what I was going to say earlier is that case is different from the other in that we are talking about the job, but we are also talking about the fact that somebody has added credentials to their capabilities. So, yeah, I would totally be in favor of this. And I don't think the $21 is outrageous by any way, shape, or means.
Alan,
It's
thoughts?
fine.
Sharon, thoughts?
Congratulations on her achievement there. That was great. Happy birthday also today.
That's right.
Yes, I totally support it.
All right. Then I'll make the motion to approve that the zoning administrator pay rate be moved from $18.75 to $21 in recognition of obtaining the zoning administrator certificate. Do I have a second?
I'll second that. Excuse me.
The
I'll
motion is,
second that.
the motion has been made and seconded to approve the zoning administrator pay rate moved from $18.75 to $21 in recognition of obtaining the zoning administrator certificate.
Excuse me.
Technically, you need to say assistant, because when you look at your payroll sheet, you can't adjust the zoning administrator.
Oh, yeah, you're
That's
right,
correct.
Bill. Nice catch. Thank you. Sarah would not be happy with that. So I will reread the corrected motion to approve the assistant zoning administrator pay rate from $18.75 to $21 in recognition of obtaining the zoning administrator's certificate. Will the second agree?
Yes.
All right. I would ask for a roll call vote on that, please.
Yes, I'm first on that one. Yes. Bob?
Yes?
Alan?
Yes,
Jason absent. Sharon?
Yes.
Very
So
good,
that
board.
motion is approved 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie.
You'll get smarter every year.
She's pretty smart right now.
All right, last item, board. We were contacted by the Antrim County Clerk's Office with a question related to the M88 referendum ballot language. In the language, the address used was a mailing address, which is Central Lake, and not the township location address. In speaking with Todd, he indicated either is acceptable, but agreed it would be less confusing using the township address. In the ballot, the Central Lake address was used twice, so Central Lake was there twice. And so the question came up, the township of Torch Lake passed or is putting a referendum on their ballot for something for Central Lake. So we wanted to reduce that confusion. So after talking with Todd, we changed the language. And so he suggested we bring the resolution back and have it approved with the changed language. So board, I included the revision. And do we have any questions on this item?
does this change the date of the election?
No, it was
So it's
just,
still in the August election?
yes, it was just a formality, really.
So it should say,
The last
okay,
sentence.
On the very,
instead of,
It does say, yeah.
instead of saying 5884 North M88 Highway, Central Lake, Michigan, it'll say 5884 North M88 Highway in Torch Lake Township.
that's what it says.
Okay.
Yep. All right, if there's
Does
no,
it, does it matter on the, again, the last sentence? Following the referendum language be placed on the ballot in Torch Lake Township at the next regular or special election? Do we need the special election any longer? Since-
Todd would recommend we leave the,
Okay,
and make only the changes that we make.
okay.
If there are no other comments, then I will make a motion to
And
reapprove.
the only reason it said that 5884 North M88 is because it's Central Lake mailing address there.
That's what I was
So,
saying.
yeah.
It's the mailing address. and-
geez. Yeah.
But both,
It's not an error, but it's a clarification. Okay.
it's okay either way, but it was agreed that it would clear up that confusion. And there's no sense having something there that could create some confusion for the voters. So I will make the motion to reapprove Resolution 2021-08, the M88 rezoning referendum for changes to the ballot language as approved by our township attorney. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion has been approved and seconded to reapprove Resolution 2021-08, M88 rezoning referendum for changes to the ballot language as approved by the township attorney. Kathy, we need a roll call vote, please.
I can do it. Bob? you're
Yes.
First. Alan?
Yes,
Jason absent. Sharon?
Yes.
And myself, yes. It was actually our printer that caught not the error, but the confusion, because it kind of read like if you were in Central Lake, you were voting on this issue. So I think it's a good change.
All right, board, that completes the new business section. Moving on to the board discussion section that we added. The items, Mike gave you the background. We've been down a paramedic, and as of, for instance, our overtime this month was $5,000 against a budget of $2,600. So it does have a real impact on us. So the question is, there's a fundamental problem across the state, and that is there's not a lot of new paramedics being schooled and passing and getting their licenses. And so, quite honestly, there's an increased demand, and the resources are getting fewer. So we're going to be facing costs increases either on base salary or in doing the overtime. So Mike had a couple ideas that he brought. As he mentioned, one came from another community. That is to offer, if it meets the guidelines from our auditors, to provide a finder's fee, for lack of a better word. And again, that's got to be approved by the auditor, that they would receive $250 if they recommended and we hired a paramedic. And then if they stayed for 6 months, that the individual who recommended it would get another $250. The idea is that these folks are in a circle of people and they have the opportunity to talk to others and they can sell people on our township, and it would be potentially an incentive for them to do it. That would be one item. The second item, and I guess there's some communities doing this now, is to establish what they call an on-call list. And that is basically a list of people that are willing to take a phone call and show up and perform the paramedic service. And right now, what the market seems to be saying is that rate is roughly $26. That sounds like a lot, but for our paramedics, when you add 50% for a paramedic's overtime for taking the extra work, it comes out to about $27 an hour. So it's kind of a wash, but the idea would be Mike could create a list of backups that he could go through fairly quickly and hopefully find somebody to fill that in, because the alternative for us, because we only have one bus, is we drop down one level of service if we don't have a paramedic. So from a board's perspective, I'm open to other ideas. I'll check, Sharon, we can check with Trent to see if we can do a finder's fee in this particular instance. But other than that, I mean, anybody have other
Would you-
ideas?
Would you comment on that second part? I was writing and I didn't
Yeah.
catch it all.
So, Mike, why don't you explain it since you brought it up? It was it's a good idea, but try to keep it to a couple minutes. No, that was.
Take the microphone right out of there, Mike.
Basically, what it is that Long Lake Township and a few other small houses that have one ALS unit. Is it on?
Take it right out of there.
Other townships that are similar in our size, and one of them is Long Lake Township, which I've got to know quite well, Dave Gradup, who's their EMS director. They're offering an on-call of $26 an hour. Another township down by Clare is offering 26 now. And I don't see that changing. I see that probably going up in the next couple of years. Some of the paramedics are, like I told you in my report earlier, there was only 30 that graduated in the state of Michigan. And there's like 300 or 400 positions.
So what is
open.
the on-call? What do you go?
They would just be available if, so example, Dave called in at 6 o'clock at night, I called us on-call person, would be in at 8 o'clock morning, we would have it covered. They would not be eligible for the premium pay. They
Right.
would be straight $26 an hour, period. But they would be on call, so we would bring a couple people on board, and they would be going through the township board review process and so on. And then we would have them sign up for shifts or whatever and be on call.
What about the full-time paramedics already on the schedule at whatever rate they are? Would they, I mean,
It shouldn't affect them any because they get full-time benefits
okay.
and so on, so it shouldn't affect
This
them
is,
at all.
this is an on-call, bringing somebody in. type
Right.
of- Not our
bring 'em in.
full-time staff that we have
No.
back there with all the benefits. Okay,
No.
okay, gotcha.
Now, if they want to quit and be on call, well, I can't do anything about that. But basically, I think that I think they've gotten 2 on call at Long Lake Township in the past 2 months by doing this.
So for example, our surrounding communities that have EMS, If they have paramedics on their pay, those people would be eligible to put their name on our list.
Yes.
So we would call them if they're not working their job in Elk Rapids, they could jump on
Yes.
for us. So the
Yes.
potential number of people on that list would be a lot, I would
Could
think.
very well be, especially at the rate of $26 an
Yeah.
hour. And once you put that out there, I think that we're going to get a pretty good list.
Yeah.
And the other advantage of that $26 an hour, it's in our medical control authority. So basically, they don't have to go through the whole process. We're getting a really good report, as I said in my earlier report, I only got 30 seconds, Pop, is that we're getting a good rapport with medical control authority. So when we send an application now, boom, they're on it and they get it back to us within a day. Karen's been really good and we've got a great deal of respect with them. So this will just enhance that. And working with Dave over in Long Lake Township we're kind of working together. So it's to our advantage to do this. So I propose that to Bob at the staff meeting.
So you're short 2 paramedics, so we wouldn't,
We're short 1 paramedic. You
okay.
have 3 paramedics that cover 2 days a week each. That's 6 days. So with the 1 paramedic that we had that was working for us, picked up that 1 day a week. When that person left, we're down 1
Right.
day a week.
Right, so if we got somebody from TAA to come in and take, would they do the $26 shift? Do they get per diem, or do they get the,
No. No premium pay.
okay, the
26
premium pay,
bucks.
okay.
That's it.
Because that it could be a very range of different people from all around
Could
that.
be a range of different
Okay.
people. We of course would vet them, of course. But yes, it could be a range of different people.
Well, that's why we're going to create a list.
That's right.
It's not going to be, he's not going to have a Rolodex. We'll vet them. And then what we have to do is put a process in place for doing this. So I brought it to the board for your input and for other ideas if you have any. And if not, then what I would recommend is that Mike and I put together a formal proposal. If you're leaning one way or the other, I kind of like the call-on list versus the incentive finder's fee. I think we may have a problem with that with the auditor, but we could.
Well, I'm going to question that, Bob, only because Trent is our auditor. And we've been doing it for 2 years now. And he was aware of it then, unless he missed it. They just do spot checks. But he's our auditor at TA, and we've been doing it for 2
I'm
years.
gonna bring it up to
He
him.
he may do a new review on that.
Yeah, well, it's like never mind, I won't go
No,
to that other one.
don't go down that one. Alan, any other thoughts?
Mike, when you talk about vetting them, I forget the name of that process, but for the people from TAA that come here, there was a process they had to somehow be certified with Torch Lake Township as well as is that
That's
what you mean by
part of
vetting?
That's part of the vetting process, is they have to, even though they come from TA, they still have to go through like a new thing here.
Yeah.
Background check, the whole.
No,
The whole ball of wax.
I don't know if this would apply. I remember a few years ago, I was at the gas station, the Holiday gas station in Charlevoix, and this SUV pulls up and it says Charlevoix Township paramedic on it. So I talked to them, and they have a floating paramedic. They did at the time anyways, that would float. I don't know how many townships they cover up there. That was, for many, ready to move wherever they were needed. Now, I don't know if we have too much volume to consider something like that, but
We don't have the volume, but it's called an E911 unit. And what
okay.
it is, it's a staff paramedic unit that kind of floats around during the day shift. But our business is nowhere near that number.
That number?
You almost have to have, even TEA, we're not even close. You have to have close to 2,000 calls a year. Now, Charlevoix has close to 2,000 calls a year or even more because they do a lot of transfers
Oh,
from the hospitals. They do a lot of interfacility transfers from the nursing home to the hospital, Al. So their runs are up. So that floating paramedic is basically covering for all those transfers they're taking out. So they could do that. But it's called an E unit. And they use them a lot downstate.
And that's,
The closest-
go ahead. They used to do that years ago. have their own unit and drive around
Right,
a
right.
long time ago.
They got rid of them because it was
Yeah.
just a nightmare,
Yeah,
staffing wise, but now Charlevoix does. I don't know if they're still doing that anymore though. I'd have to check on that, Al.
yeah, I
But
don't,
downstate, they use them in Lansing, Emmett County, Kent County, Muskegon County. When I was on the ProMed ambulance board, we did it down there. We had an E-unit that floated and we would put them in, like say the high school dumped out at 3:00 in the afternoon and we see bad accidents in the wintertime. We kind of have that E-unit kind of shift over there. So you could base it on trend, volume, rates, accidents, whatever. But here, you will never get to an E-unit.
All right. Okay, so if the board agrees, Mike and I will pursue both of those items. We'll make sure we don't have any issues with the auditor. And we'll come back with a formal plan either for the June meeting, or if we get it done sooner than that, I may call special meetings so that we can implement the plan. All right?
I have a suggestion, kind of like the 250 finder's fee. That amount of money goes to the employee here who finds somebody.
Correct.
Mine would be the opposite of that. Once again, we'd have to find out if the auditor would approve like a signing fee. A bonus, signing bonus for, you sign and you stay 6 months, you get a bonus.
Right. I have found that a signing bonus works if it's large enough.
Mhm.
I found that $500 sign-on bonus doesn't do anything. It would almost have to be between the $2,000 and $5,000 sign-on
Really?
bonus.
50's
Really?
nothing.
And then in that case, the restriction you would have to put on it would be at least you'd have to be with us for at least 2 years. And if
Okay.
you leave early, then you have to pay it back.
Yeah.
That would not be, and I'm sure Trent would not have a
That's
problem
not
with
an incentive.
that. No. I mean,
All
it
right.
does work when you put the money behind it. I
Yeah.
mean, if it's $2,000 or $3,000 sign-on bonus, which I foresee that coming down the pipeline,
Mhm.
but if it's a $3,000 sign-on bonus, then you can hold them to your facility for 2 years. And if they leave early, you can make them pay it. And I've done that many times as hiring nurses in my career.
Well, your break-even point is not that great if you think about it, because we spent an extra 2,500 over and above the budget this month alone. So if you had a $3,000 for 2 years, that's money in the bank when you reduce that overtime. So that might not be,
Might not be a bad idea,
we'll kick that around as well.
we can kick that around. Yeah, whatever we do to steal one of those 30 paramedics, I'd be jumping up and down with joy.
All right, great. Thank you, board. That takes care of that. Let's move on to the information only. We did sign the day park cleaning contract. The final total came out at $19,400. That's under the 20,000 we talked about, and quite honestly, we have a large number of days in which we have one cleaning, especially going into the July time period and coming out of the August time period. We have some flexibility if we have to, that there might be 6 days. We might have to call in for a second cleaning or an emergency cleaning. So I think we'll still stay under the $20,000 for the year. I have heard back as an update from Representative Ken Borton's office. They think we're in pretty good standing to receive some money from the state. Tom Stillings has done a great job on keeping us on the front burner with Ken's office. And as soon as they get the applications, they will send me one, we'll fill it out and get it back to them and see what strings are attached, if any, for the funds. But the feedback was the draft that we sent them as to what we wanted it for meets all their criteria. So I think that we're in good shape there. Bob, if you want to give Virginia's report on the update of the park operations, that'd be great. Did she give you one on the scanning or not? Okay. All right.
excuse me. As far back as 2019, certain issues were identified by the park committee at that time, which were mostly safety related. And a lot of these events are still occurring today. So the following items have been implemented in an effort to reduce these safety risks. First, the park area is going to be separated from the launch area. These are actually two different areas entirely. They don't have anything to do with one another. So in an effort to make that a little more clear, separate ordinances have been made for the park and for the launch. And a fence will be installed starting from approximately where the current kiosk is by the launch, next to that big tree. It's going to run west all the way up to almost to the parking area. And that should prevent a lot of the foot traffic that occurs, people running back and forth. And so many incidences have happened where children have walked out behind vehicles that are backing up to launch. So this should alleviate that problem. Number two, the security surveillance cameras are going to be upgraded. Number three, the entrance to the parking lot that was nearest the restrooms has been closed, and a new entrance has been put in farther west, almost to the west park boundary. It'll run in between, or does run, in between the upper pavilion and the west park boundary, down near the southwest corner, and then it runs east over into the existing parking lot. The entrance near the parking, or near the restroom, is blocked off with stones. The east entrance will remain open, so it'll be a one-way traffic pattern in at the top of the hill, around into the parking lot and out, down in the middle of Public Dock Road. To alleviate congestion at the launch, a new little area will be put in where people can prep their boats. There will be signage there telling them don't proceed any further till your stuff is loaded on your boat, your lines are attached, your plug is in, and you are ready to put the boat in the water. So just trying to speed things up right down at the bottom of the road. Number five, the ordinance enforcement officer will be monitoring the park, the nature preserve, and the launch frequently and regularly. That presence alone should, not that there's so much problem at the day park, but we're just trying to keep a flow going down at the launch, because tempers get out of hand, when things get backed up. As I said, separate ordinances have been passed pertaining to the park and the launch.
Well, they haven't been passed yet, you
I was going to
guys.
say, I haven't seen them.
They need to be presented to the board because I think they're using them as a police power.
Okay, yeah, they are, correction. So they've been recommended by the park committee and sent to the board for further
Okay,
approval.
that's
Well,
written
they haven't
down
been
here.
sent yet. You tell
Oh, really?
Virginia if she wants them.
She's watching right now.
Right.
Virginia, gotta get them to me.
That's why I'm saying I wrote that down because I didn't remember seeing them. Okay,
Yep.
go ahead.
Number six, the township has a deputy supervisor who heads up these large projects, like the road, the surveillance, the fence. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. I'm sorry, this is a little convoluted here.
Because Virginia wrote it.
She wanted to just remind everyone, not just here, but everybody watching, that the park must remain open to everyone in perpetuity. And so these changes are made in an effort to manage the park safely for everyone's use. So that concludes the report.
Great, thank you.
Bob,
I have a quick question.
can you, with the fence now that you're going to have, will people be able to get to the dock, the pier?
Not from the day park.
So they have to go way around now?
Yes, they'd have to
Okay.
walk up to the parking lot and then all the way back down the dock road.
That's a good idea.
Any other questions?
Nope. We'll have a question for Bill real quickly.
Well, maybe this is for Bill too. I don't know. When I go down by the kiosk area, down at the bottom around that corner, can we get some more fill around that corner? You drop off right there and it's needs some work around that corner because people go off the side and
That's Bill's wheelhouse, but I'm sure his answer will be yes.
yeah, I didn't know if it was a park or Bill. I know it is, but man, we could use a little fill in that spot.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The commissioner is not here right now, but it's just an idea.
It needs
What's-
some help.
What's the status on the fence? Are they returning your phone calls or? Do we have another
Chasing
backup?
who?
I mean, is there another company we can call? Well, that's the question. There are none available to do this. Well,
What are we talking about?
putting the fence in.
Oh.
I mean, it's one thing to say we're going to put a fence in, it's another thing to get the fence in. So. Well, if the fence is there, we can buy it.
Is it wood or metal or what are we
No, it's-
proposing?
So, all right, very good. Thank you,
Put a
Bob.
shock collar on like a dog thing that shocks everybody to get away.
All right,
Don't put
that takes care of,
Stay away.
Virginia was going to give us a scanning project update, but we'll get that next time. So moving on, do we have any citizen comment? You got to fill out a form.
I was just gonna mention real quick, if that's something that you want the road commission to do, you should call the road commission. I wasn't aware of this until 2 months ago, but every time a citizen calls the road commission and their call is taken, their name is taken, the road is taken, the address is taken, and the problem is taken, and that gets written on a report, and it's listed whether this is urgent, is this an emergency? If it's not, but a follow-up is required from one of the road commission members within 7 days of a non-emergency. So,
Okay.
if there's an issue, call it in. And I told the same thing in Banks Township, and one of the ladies there called it in, and the next month her name was on the report.
You realize now that Sharon will be on the phone at 9:00 tomorrow morning. She's already
I've
put it
already
in as a reminder.
I get responses back from Bert in less than 15 minutes.
Mine are 15 days or so.
Matter of fact, I called him today, sent him pictures, and I got a response within 15 minutes.
All right.
And it
board-
always is that.
Board
I thought
comment.
maybe it was our
None.
park.
Alan, none?
No.
Sharon, board comment?
I have none.
All right, Kathy?
No, thank you.
All right. Then, first I want to commend the job again of the planning commission, that what they did this past week, thoroughness of the review, questions raised and the deliberations were very professional. Second, I want to reiterate that the Memorial Weekend should be an exciting time for our community. The fireworks are supposed to be bigger and the pancake breakfast is going to bring back some memories for people. For those worried about paramotors, I recommend that any behavioral issues related to those activities should be reported to me. People should take a picture and send it to my cell phone number. It's 231-330-8978. I have worked with Tim that if I receive these items, he and I will discuss the next steps in trying to correct the issues. Finally, I have asked the board members to give me their top 1 or 2 items that they feel we need to address in the 22-23 fiscal year. I know they're still thinking about them because I haven't gotten any yet.
Oh, I didn't.
Therefore, I want to open it up to the community and to the public and ask them if there's something on your mind or things that you think the board should be addressing, please send them to my township email. We will be doing a survey and constant contact that either went out Friday or will go out Monday in the coming days as to whether or not people would support a millage for the township pursuing either a public service / police officer for the township. It's just a question of whether or not you would support a millage. The next question would be, we have two alternatives. One would be our own individual, or a second one would be teaming with the local community. Important item coming in August is the voting on the road millage. I'm going to keep harping on this one. Our millage is done. And if we want to do our 5-year plan, we need to pass that millage in August. Other than that, board, I make the motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
8:44.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.